Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to continue learning about close reading. Now we've already learned that the first step of close reading is to do a cold read. Just sit down and read the text one time through. The second step of close reading, is after your cold read, you're going to go back through the text and you're going to identify the key words and phrases. Now we've been working really hard on keywords and phrases, and most of us are getting a 3 out of 4 or a 4 out of 4 when it comes to identifying a keyword and a phrase. Now the third step is annotating. And some of you already know how to annotate. Some of these people are Talia, Bryn, Lakia. A lot of you already have this strategy, okay? But we're going to make it a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more specific. And annotating, as you might guess, because it has the note sound in the middle, is really just a word that means take notes within the text. Now, annotating is pretty simple, but it can take a little bit of time. So be patient the first few times that you do it. You'll get a lot faster at it as you practice. The first step for annotating is to set a purpose for your reading and annotation. If you don't set a purpose for your annotation, it's not going to be very helpful for you because you're not really going to know what notes to take within the text. So whenever I'm getting started with my annotation, I like to set purpose by asking myself a question that I want to answer by the end of my passage. And when I first sit down to annotate, usually the first question I want to ask myself is, what information or ideas are presented in this text? So I'm going to ask myself, what information or ideas are presented in the text? I've now set purpose for my annotation. I can go ahead and get started with my second step. I set my purpose. Second step is just read. Wolves once roamed across most of North America. Over hundreds of thousands of years, they developed side by side with their prey and filled an important role in the web of life. Opportunistic hunters, wolves preyed on deer, elk, and beaver, killing and eating the young, the sick, the weak, and the old, and leaving the fittest to survive and reproduce. Wolf kills provided a source of food for numerous other species, such as bears, foxes, eagles, and ravens. Wolves even contributed to forest health by keeping deer and elk populations in check, thus preventing overgrazing and soil erosion. Now, I've read my first paragraph, and my original purpose for rereading this was to figure out, well, what information or ideas are presented. And I learned in this paragraph that wolves used to be all across North America, which is a lot different than where they are now. There really aren't too many wolves left. So I learned in this first paragraph that the information or ideas that are presented is that wolves used to be all over North America. So now I'm going to annotate. I'm going to take my notes. Wolves used to be all over North America. All right, I've now annotated, taken notes about the text right in the margins. All right, so now I'm going to repeat my process. I need to set a purpose for my annotation in the second paragraph. Now, usually I like to ask myself a question like, well, what do I learn about the topic as I continue reading? I've already learned that wolves used to be all over North America. I want to know what else I'm going to learn in this next paragraph. So what do I learn about the topic? That's my purpose for reading the second paragraph. So I've set my purpose. Step 2, read. Not surprisingly, the cultures which inhabited North America before the time of European exploration revered the wolf and its role in nature. Many indigenous groups relied on hunting as their major source of food and goods, and were keenly attuned to their environment. The elements of the natural world, including the wolf, were important to their everyday lives and spirituality. Okay, so I'm going to ask myself now, what do I learn about the topic? Well, in this paragraph, they talk a lot about the indigenous groups. And so the indigenous groups that were in North America, well, that must be the Native Americans. And so I learned that the Native Americans revered the wolf. And that says that they honored, adored, and respected the wolf. So Native Americans really thought the wolf was important. So I'm going to go ahead and annotate my text now. So, Native Americans worshipped the wolf. I've now answered my question, what did I learn about the topic? All right, so now I'm ready to continue. I'm going to ask myself another question to set purpose for my annotation for paragraph 3. I could ask myself again, well, what do I learn about the topic? Or I might choose to ask myself another question, such as, well, how is what I read connected to all the stuff that I read and annotated before? That's also a really great question that you can ask yourself. So, what I want for you to do right now is I want for you to ask yourself this question, and I want for you to read paragraph 3, and I want for you to annotate. How is this connected? Read paragraph 3, and then I want for you to annotate off to the side. Once you're done with paragraph 3, please show Ms. Bierman, and then you can continue on to annotate the rest of the story.